Hey guys, Matt Allen here. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin and Happy New Year. Today we're going to celebrate by going out on the water together and throwing jerkbaits. These winter fish are pretty lethargic, but a jerkbait is an amazing way to catch them under these conditions. Our water's cold. It's in the mid to upper 40s, but these fish will still react to that jerkbait. Let's go. Now, we really haven't talked about the jerkbait much since fall. Things change a lot as we go into winter. You know, that jerkbait works year-round, and there are a lot of great baits out there at all sorts of different price points. But the colder the water gets, the more precise the baits need to be, because the more precise the technique needs to be. So as this water gets cold, the lag time between twitches gets longer and longer and longer. When I get out here on the water, I always try to start with like a 2 to 4 second pause. But if these fish are not in a good mood, if they don't want to feed, the pause between single twitches can be 10, 15, even 20 seconds. Typically not more than 10. After that, I personally start to lose my mind and it stops being fun. But first I'm going to get that bait down a little bit, and then I give it those twitches. And you just let it sit and sit and sit and sit. It's dead still, it's suspended in the water. And this is why in the cold water, a precise bait is really important. I'm throwing a Megabass Vision 110 +1 and a +2. Those are the two baits I have tied on, because I need them to perfectly suspend. They can't be sinking or rising during this time, or it won't work anywhere near as well. You need it perfectly suspended. The reason for the +1 and the +2, that's different depths. So my fish right now are sitting on a ledge from 8 to about 22, 23 feet of water. And between those two baits, I'm able to fish the upper part and the lower part very effectively. But again, these long, long, long pauses. Sometimes you'll feel them hit it. Other times you'll just be sitting here holding it, and all of a sudden that line will start moving, it'll start going. And then when they're really lethargic, you won't even feel them grab it. They just come up and latch onto it, and they hook themselves. You don't even realize. And the next time you go to twitch, there's already a fish on there. Sharp hooks are critical, and a precision bait is critical in the cold water. I've gone all the way down to 10-pound fluorocarbon to really get the depth out of this bait and to not interfere with its action. We're just going to slowly fish today, but these fish will bite. Now, oftentimes in winter, it takes a few stops to find some fish that are willing to cooperate. So what we're on now is just a very steep rock wall. The rock comes down, big boulders, and then it hits a mud bottom, and right on that transition is where they should be. So again, we're gonna go to that +2 with that great big bill. With that bigger bill, you don't have to hit the bait as hard. You still hit sharp, but they're shorter movements, because it's digging down to the bottom, and the harder you hit it, it really doesn't help. Shorter, sharper movements are what will give you the best action. Hopefully we can pick some off along here. Ooh, missed that one. When I went to jerk, I had a bunch of extra slack that shouldn't have been there. While it was on a slack line, a fish ate that and came towards me and spit it out. I never even knew it. Got him. He hit that hard. I felt it through all that slack line, no problem. He ate that front hook. So my guess is, let me get this unhooked from him. My guess is that he had it head first. And that's why it felt such a hard strike. Nice little wintertime fish. Little bit smaller fish. But as we get here, we're kind of getting to the end of the wall, and the deep rock is meeting a shallower flat. Smaller fish here. But because I was getting to that shallower edge, so instead of being 25 to 35 feet deep out at where the boat is, now it's 15 to 20. And I'm casting in. So I drop back to that +1, so it wouldn't go quite as deep. So I'm fishing just above the bottom, not actually digging the bottom. That's the thing with like this series where you have the Vision 110, the 110 +1, the +2. That's all depth control. That's the purpose. So as you get into shallower or deeper areas, you switch baits and stay close to the bottom without being on the bottom. And then again, they're balanced so well, they suspend so well, they're perfect for this style of fishing. Missed him. So all I'm doing when I twitch the bait is I'm letting that line stay slack. Slack is key. The correct rod is key. You don't want any movement between twitches. So twitch, twitch, and then truly sit dead still. We've talked about this before. If you go to take up extra line and that bait starts to swim, those fish have no interest. You need to go harsh movements to dead still to harsh movements. That's when you get that reaction strike. So all I'm doing, I twitch it and then I leave all that slack. And I'm watching the slack with my eyes. That last fish, the one I missed, I saw the line jump. I didn't feel anything. It was like a Senko bite where that line just hops on the water and you know to set the hook. And I had a bunch of slack. He'd already eaten it and moved and spit it out. You're really reliant with this style of fishing on sharp hooks because that fish can eat that thing and spit it faster than you can react. Those hooks have to grab that fish on their own and then you'll get them. Another one that definitely ate it head first to get that front hook buried in his mouth. Too cool. Cold water bass reacting to a properly placed bait. It's awesome. Like every video, down in the video description I'll link you all the gear. This is that X-Pride 610 medium that we preach and preach and preach about. It's finally back in stock. It's an incredible jerkbait rod at any price. And thankfully, it's only a mid-priced rod. It's mid-200s. It's not a $400 or $500 rod. And it is incredible for this style of fishing. So I'll link you all that gear, but see if we can catch a couple more. I started throwing up there to the back. I'm actually hitting bottom with the +1. Hopefully I have a regular 110 in the boat. Let's see. Again, only 10-pound fluoro. You really have to fight these fish. That line will break. He's having the 110. Yeah, I came prepared. Let's go. I think this guy, that's called Clear Laker, and I am in very clear water right now. Much clearer than normal. Normally this water here, foot to 2.5 feet of visibility, maybe 3 feet. And I'd say right now I have a solid 4.5 feet. I think that really clear bait will do it. See that shorter lip? It's not going to go anywhere near as deep. I'm thinking, you know, this is the first sunny day we've had in a long time. Yesterday was supposed to be sunny, and we had this horrible freezing fog. It was below freezing with fog hanging on the water. It was terrible. So today we've got these different conditions. I'm thinking maybe these fish pushed up off of these deep rocks. They slid up in here to try and get warm. We'll go really shallow, and really shallow, like 5 to 8 feet. See if they're up there. Again, everything in the winter revolves around that rock, that deep rock, hard bottom. But right here, sunny conditions. Notice I took my jacket off. It's a little bit warmer here in this pocket. They might have just slid up, or we can get them. Let's find out. Sure enough, that little guy ate the regular 110. Definitely up there shallower, but I'll tell you what, he's the exact same size as the others. So no real improvement. So I think I'm gonna go back to the +1, because I do think the bulk of those fish are a little bit deeper. I was hoping if there was one shallow, it'd be a better fish, and it wasn't. So back to the other. Try and get a couple more before we call it a day. That was just the faintest little jump in the line. Really subtle. Close one. Whew. If you're wondering why I set so hard on these fish, because again, it's a light rod and it's only 10-pound fluoro. Well, the rod can absorb the shock, so I'm not worried about breaking the line. But the reason why is that some of these fish eat that bait going to the side. Some of them eat it going away, but some of them, when they hit it, are coming straight at the boat. And I end up with all sorts of slack in the line. You know, an extra foot or 2 or 3 or 4 of slack. And if I gave it a light hook set, I might never catch up to the fish. I might blow it. So I hit them all really, really hard, and the ones that were on a tight line, the rod absorbs it. The ones that were coming at me, I'm able to get a hook in them. I went back to that +2, got out just a little bit deeper, and I think I've got a little better fish. No, it's only a little better. He's fouled. Thought we might have had a good 4 or 5 pounder there. All right, let's try and get one more and then we'll wrap it up there. Always one more. All right, let's wrap it up there. Guys, I hope you had a great new year. This is gonna be a really good year for you. Spend time on the water, you will catch fish. The key, again, to winter success with a jerkbait, there's a couple of things that you need to know. Your gear needs to be precise. It needs to perfectly suspend. It needs to be the right bait, the right line, quality rod. They all work together to give that perfect action and then that true suspension in the water where those fish will come up and eat it. When that bait's just sitting there, they just sit and look at it, and the next time it moves, they attack. You need super sharp hooks because it's critical on that slack line that those fish hook themselves, and then you know they're there. Some of them you feel, some of them you don't. So a sticky sharp hook makes a big difference. And then cadence, slow down. Twitch that bait and then just let it sit. It makes all the difference. Get out there, guys. There are fish to be caught. In the middle of winter, you can do it. Spring is just around the corner. Again, Happy New Year. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you soon.